This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
The Dallas Cowboys just signed the fastest wide receiver in the NFL. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hitting that red button down below. The Dallas Cowboys may have signed themselves one of the fastest wide receivers in Jaylen Tolbert, as Dak Prescott is very impressed. Now, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Jaylen Tolbert could be due for a big year. Quarterback Dak Prescott hyped up the third-year player and indicated that he could see more balls thrown his way this season. "My trust is super high in him," Prescott said, per NFLs.com Grant Gordon. "I trust him with any route, wherever it is, against whoever." Tolbert, a third-round pick out of South Alabama in the 2022 NFL Draft, took a leap in the second season last year, recording 268 receiving yards and a pair of touchdowns on 22 receptions. While that wasn't a major step up from his rookie year, when he had 2 receptions, Prescott believes he can still reach another level. And with him being rumored to sign a new contract with the Dallas Cowboys very soon, it does seem that he will be in a Dallas Cowboys uniform for a while, and it could pay huge dividends. "I'll tell him, I'm sure, if he watches this, and I'll tell him to his face. He hasn't done anything yet," Prescott said. "Another guy that I'm not going to put on a ceiling on what his potential can be, because as long as he continues to approach the game the way he has, with the intensity, with the focus, and with the expectation to be the number one guy, no one can tell how great he can be." Prescott also mentioned that Tolbert has been someone he spent a lot of time with in the offseason. Similar to ceedee last year, the quarterback said, "It's usually been a young guy that anytime I send that text message out, they're there," Prescott said. "No matter what time, what day, that was Tolbert this offseason. And Jalen Brooks as well. I got to make sure I give him his credit." While having a year like Lamb did last year is a bit unrealistic, making a third-year leap is well within the reach for Tolbert. Behind Lamb and Brandon Cooks, the Cowboys wide receiver third position is wide open, and Prescott's high praise of Tolbert seems to indicate he's on his way to earning that spot. On top of all these signings, the Dallas Cowboys have also signed another veteran free agent defensive end, bringing in Micah Parsons' college teammate from Penn State. The Dallas Cowboys have signed not one, but 2 veteran free agents to bolster the team's defensive end depth following the injury to Sam Williams over the weekend. Shortly after signing Al-Qadim Muhammad to a 1-year deal, reports surfaced that the Cowboys are also signing Shaka Toney. Toney and Muhammad are 2 of the 4 defensive ends who worked out for the team on Thursday. Other defensive ends who worked out for Dallas were Carl Lawson and Justin Hollins. On top of this, what's interesting about Toney is that he is a former all-team Big Ten selection and college teammate of Cowboys star Micah Parsons at Penn State. Now, because of this, Toney was selected by the Washington Commanders, then the Washington football team, in the 7th round of the 2021 NFL Draft. He saw limited action during this time in Washington, recording just 16 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Toney was suspended indefinitely by the NFL for betting on games during the 2022 season and was reinstated in April 2024. He was released by the Commanders less than a week later. Now, Toney gets his big shot at redemption in Big D. The second is that former undrafted wide receiver Jaylen Cropper makes his case at the Dallas Cowboys camp. So as you all know, when Brandon Cooks talks his fellow Dallas Cowboys wide receivers listen. When he imparts wisdom accumulated over the course of a decade-long NFL career, they take it. Jaylen Cropper, an undrafted receiver out of Fresno State in the 2023 NFL Draft, certainly did just that. Cooks told Cropper that everything happens for a reason. He also told him that everything that could happen in an NFL season usually does. Let's call Cook's law. Even if the latter part of it didn't really come true for Cropper last season, Cropper spent the entirety of his rookie season in NFL purgatory. He was on the practice squad, which meant he practiced with the rest of the team and went to meetings with the rest of the team as well. But after practice, he'd head to a separate locker room within the Cowboys facility with his fellow practice squad members. On game day, he wouldn't suit up. Cropper's mentality, based on the advice of Cooks, never changed however. "If they do need me," Cropper said, "I'm ready." At the start of this second season, Cropper is showing just how ready he has been. One of the storylines from Cowboys training camp so far in Oxnard has been the back-end competition at wide receiver. Star wide receiver ceedee Lamb is holding out in hopes of a new contract, which means the Cowboys have rotated a lot of different receivers with their starters. Cropper and is also one of them. Cropper has been consistent all training camp through his best practice may have came on Saturday for the blue-white scrimmage. He scored touchdowns with both the first and second team offense during a very competitive 2-minute drill section. Cropper is competing with Tyron Billy Johnson, second-year receiver Jalen Brooks, and also who left Monday's practice briefly before returning, and rookie Brian Flournoy. Now, among others of the final roster spots, before the first preseason game begins, he's showing why he has a case. It's not by accident either. Cropper said he spent last offseason doing what a lot of rookies do. They weren't only training for their first NFL season, but they were also training to ace the prerequisite test, the combine. This year offseason was different. Instead of 40-yard dashes, Cropper said he should focus on football training. He aimed to understand his body better, the way his hips moves, the way he cut in and out of breaks, and also the best way he, at just under 6 feet, could create leverage and get open. Cropper said he worked out with trainer Jamal Ligon in Southern California. Ligon also works with Stephon Diggs, Christian Kirk, and fellow Cowboys teammate linebacker Eric Kendricks, among others. It was definitely something that elevated my game to another level, Cropper said. After a minicamp practice this season, and I can feel it in the way I move, out of my breaks, and what I do in the weight room. Everything is just coming full circle. That includes Cropper's mindset heading into his second season. Going undrafted can be hard for any player, especially those that weren't expecting it. Cropper had 2,701 receiving yards in his career at Fresno State, including 1,086 during his final year. He had over 80 catches each of his final 2 seasons, and he has projected 6th-round pick according to NFL.com. Then he went undrafted before spending an entire season on the practice squad. Instead of losing confidence, Cropper lived by the words Cooks told him. He stayed ready even if he never had the chance to come on, but he also appreciated the reality of his situation and he may not have cracked the 53-man roster last season. But the Cowboys also never gave up on him, keeping him signed and on the practice squad the entire season. It was just about understanding that I wouldn't be here if they didn't believe in me, Cropper said. The next few weeks will be telling for Cropper. He figures to see a lot of playing time in the 3 preseason games, and the battle for the final receiver spots on the roster should come down to the wire. Cropper may end up on the practice squad once again, and if he does, he plans to stay very, very ready. Now, before we get into the next story, here's a quick word from our sponsor, BetUS.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
The third story is why it's all in or else for the Dallas Cowboys in this 2024 season. So normally there is an optimism surrounding the beginning of the Dallas Cowboys training camp, with hope abounding that this will be finally the year that they had their Super Bowl drought. Now when it comes to this, instead there is a lack of buzz after an offseason with more key personnel losses than arrivals, as well as the uncertainty of the contract talks involving Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and also Micah Parsons. The Cowboys appear further away from ending the Super Bowl drought that is closing in on 30 years than they were in January. A cynicism has surfaced among the fan base that nothing that happens from the Oxnard, California practice fields through their final regular season games a few days into 2025 against the Washington Commanders matters. Now, they simply do not want to be burned again. The Cowboys can thank their disheartening January playoff loss to the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round around that for the hangover. The vocal fans on social media reached their breaking point with another season falling short in another embarrassing fashion. Some inside the organization have felt the defeat linger longer than other playoff losses in recent years, even when they lost in their divisional rounds in 2007 and 2016 as the NFC's top seed East. Now, when it came to this, the Cowboys' path to their NFC championship game since 1995 appeared to be favorable with 2 games at AT&T Stadium, where they had won 16 straight regular season games with 1 minute 50 left in the first half. Packers had a 27-0 lead against the Cowboys on their way to a 48-32 victory that did not even feel that close. Carrying the demoralizing loss with them should seem motivation enough. Yeah, that Green Bay loss will always be a motivating factor between on who you are and what you did in that game, and how it also played out, said Prescott. Those second interceptions in the first half was returned 64 94 yards for a touchdown by safety Darnell Savage. It will continue. We all understand the urgencies of us improving, but there's more than just the stretch of the Packers' loss hanging over the Cowboys. There is a level of uncertainty through all levels of organization, though, that has won 36 regular season games over the past 3 years. Not only is McCarthy in the final year of his contract, so is his entire coaching staff, including defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer, who replaces Dan Quinn, and now the Commanders head coach. And not only is Prescott 17 regular season games away from being able to hit the open market at 31 years old, so are 24 other Cowboys. Owner Jerry Jones often says he enjoys ambiguity, believing it makes sense in his decision, making more thorough, but others not as financially set might not like the setting. Jones has done this before. McCarthy's predecessor, Jason Garrett, entered the final year of his contract twice. So thanks so much for watching, and first off, again, shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. See you guys soon. Peace.